Hello and welcome back to The Conversation. Another great episode in store for you today. I've got my friends with me as usual. Jeff Fauntleroy on the end.
Namaste.
DeMarcus Smith.
What up, everybody? Welcome back.
And Greg Kirkland.
Oh, I'm glad to be here today.
All right.
You can
now.
tell the ones who can sing. Always have to show off.
Yes, sir.
Look, we are back and we have stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. First, let's talk about something like friendship. We're going to talk about a little bit about friendship today. So what does friendship look like to you?
Hey, how many of us have them? The question is, one weekend.
Right. Right.
What does friend? Okay, all right, okay, over here. You want to know what? Okay, what's the question?
What does friendship look like to you? Like one of your good friends. What does that look like? How did that happen?
You know what? Okay. Let me tell you what friendship is for me. Friendship for me is a person that we don't have to talk every day, but when we talk, it's like we just finished talking, and that's what I appreciate. I appreciate when we could just pick up like like it was nothing, like there was no time missed. You know what I'm saying? For me, that's important because I can be a busy person. I can miss text messages. I can mess around and not respond, and I'm not the biggest person to call.
Your co-hosts know that.
Email me. You know, but that's me. I'm not the biggest person to pick up the phone and call. You know, but when we do talk, when we do get together,
Like yesterday.
oh, what a time!
Oh, what a time.
That's a friend to me.
I got you.
That's a friend to me.
DeMarcus?
All I know is friendship is essential to the soul. Shout out to them brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Rudy. No, friendship. I honesty moment, I haven't had a solid friend, like solid homeboy since college.
Got it.
So just going back to that, it was some like the homie that you can trust, the homie that you could keep it 100 with, and they would tell you the truth.
Sure.
Bro, you messing up, or
for sure.
Right.
bro, keep going,
For
right?
Sure.
And probably that one that's how we grew up, they willing to scrap with you, and then they also willing to fight
Scrap
you
for you,
and for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I've known friendship to be, and I guess since I haven't found somebody like that, I just kind of like we friends, but we ain't friends. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Fauntleroy?
Yeah. One thing I want to make is this distinction between friendship and loyalty. You can be loyal to people, but they don't necessarily have to be your friends. Because I'm loyal to some folks
That you
that I'm probably
necessarily
not
call.
the best of friends with.
Sure.
We're friendly towards each other.
Got it.
But my friends to me is that person, man, that you share everything with and you feel you're comfortable
100%
with.
comfortable.
Like, I mean, I know I've got some friends that we'll take some things to the grave.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then there's the one that, you don't talk to often.
Yeah.
But when you do,
and
people ask like, I didn't know y'all was friends because I don't never see y'all talking.
Right.
But when we do,
when we do that,
because we got things in common that we've grown up with over the years.
Right.
And we'll take stuff to the grave.
Absolutely.
But, man, I think people use that word
too loosely.
because a friend,
Yeah.
like I say, I know some things about some folks and they know some things about me, and it ain't many of them that we're real friends.
Absolutely.
And they'll scrap with you.
Yeah. For sure.
Like, that was stupid, man. I'll punch you in your throat.
Yeah.
Be all right with
And be all
Yeah.
because you know that they want the best for you.
Absolutely.
That's a friend to me.
Absolutely. That's good.
That's a
good.
friend, man.
And you said something that was key. You can be loyal but not a friend, but you can't be a friend and not be loyal.
Oh, come on, man.
No, man.
Come
Start
on.
that.
You cannot.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
just
not
doesn't work.
debatable.
It does not work.
Yeah.
That's not debatable.
No,
Not
that's
at
not
all.
even debatable.
I mean, and to DeMarcus's point, it's hard
It's hard.
To find.
to find.
Yep.
If you have one or two,
Yep.
you're blessed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
I just think too, one thing that we should consider and take into account though is that I think as we get older, our needs for a friend are different.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You feel me?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. What if, the friend that we needed in high school
It's different.
is not necessarily the friend that we need as a married,
take
as a
that.
husband.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
That's right.
And so for that reason, I think that sometimes it's okay
For sure.
to even say, I don't necessarily have that friend because you don't have what was necessarily the definition
once.
of
Gotcha.
Yeah.
what
I
a
say
friend
that.
was then.
And you don't always get along with your friend.
No.
Sometimes it's
The
like,
best of friends are the ones that you
yeah.
once in a while.
you see
dog,
that
you gotta
name
get
come up on the phone like, I ain't ready for this
I'm not
right
talking to
now.
him today.
I'm not
That's
ready
right.
for this.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
But
for
you
sure.
get back to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Speaking of friendship, y'all ready to conversation
Let's
start?
go,
All right, let's start the
I don't like-
conversation.
I don't like the way you asked that.
Yeah,
Hold
I
on,
know.
wait. I don't like the way you asked
There
that.
was a certain tone to it.
Speaking of friends and family.
Okay.
Friends and family.
Friends
And family. We
Oh.
adding family
Number
now?
one, first part is, how do you keep friends and family out of your business?
Oh.
They say, mind your business.
How do you
And
keep
if I wasn't on TV, I'd say it a different way. Well, we're going to keep it right here like that.
moving right
for today.
along to the second
Hey,
part?
you know what, man?
No, I mean,
I came up in an old school house, man, and big family. The house, where everybody went to, this family house, and I can remember my aunts or my uncle. When there was a grown conversation going on, come on, boy, you don't want to hear this.
Absolutely.
Come on,
That's right.
come on. Hey, that's
Absolutely. Grown folks.
That's not. Or somebody would butt in. One of my aunts would butt in or something. That's not for you.
Absolutely.
Now, as I grew up, we brought a home in the same neighborhood. So I had the main house around the corner, my uncle's house across the street, my aunt's house across the street. So
Sure.
it was family over the house all the time.
Sure.
The kids were there,
Sure.
all that.
Right.
And my mom and my aunt were always at my house with the grandkids.
Okay.
And I had to put some restrictions down because my wife wasn't used to all these people. She's like, where are all these people coming from? Why they here? I said, I don't know. This is just how I grew up.
Right.
So she got used to it, but I had to put some boundaries. And it hurt for a minute, man, because it's mom,
Yeah.
But mom,
Absolutely.
man, she,
Yeah. Mom's going to dip.
yeah, mom want to say some
She gonna
stuff,
dip.
man. It's
well, how do you? Let me press you a little further. How do you keep them out of your relationship?
and that's what happened.
Okay.
And well,
Okay.
no, not. You know what? Yeah. Listen, mom, check this out. I know you're trying to do right. I know you love your grandkids.
Right.
But we got certain ways, and my wife has certain ways that she's trying to do things.
Right.
For sure.
And that's just not her way, mom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
That's just
sure.
not her
That's
way.
Sure.
That's a hard
It's a hard
conversation.
conversation.
But I had to have
Depending
it
on who it is, it can
because
be.
at
That's
the end
right.
of the day,
Yeah.
I got to
Yeah.
go to sleep
Next
with
to her.
this
That's right.
woman,
That's
man.
right.
Getting cold
And
outside.
mom going home.
She can do for me what you can't.
Yeah.
Mom.
So mom, check this out.
Huh? That's not debatable. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Factual.
That's therapy.
I'm sorry.
But I had to tell, like, mom, listen, please work with me on this. And she was hurt. She was hurt. She was
I'll
hurt.
take it.
She was hurt.
Yeah.
But she understood.
Sure.
And then they became closer
Sure.
because I saw them talking. And while they were talking, I was sweating like,
Yeah.
oh, Lord.
Yes, sir.
But, and then even with the kids, I had to set some boundaries.
Yeah.
Mom, my daughter, she got out the age where she wanted to wear the foo-foo dresses. She didn't want to wear the fluffy dresses and stuff no more. My mom was, she was going
Old
crazy.
school,
She didn't want to be in the debutante cotillion.
Right.
And that was my mother's dream.
Oh, wow.
And it hurt her to her heart.
Wow.
And I said, Mom, listen, that's not what
she
they want to
wants.
do.
That's right.
Gotcha.
And you got to respect
Absolutely.
that. So you got to have that. I think we mentioned before on another episode about that hard conversation.
Absolutely.
You got to be honest with folks, man.
Gotta be
or they
honest.
will take advantage
Absolutely.
of you.
They will.
Absolutely.
And if I could say one more thing, I would say that it's also a balance too of knowing how to how do I say it? Knowing how to shut your mouth.
Oh. Yeah.
Because sometimes you and I don't necessarily mean just me, but you, like as in me or my spouse or you or your spouse, could unknowingly involve people, involve your family in their relationship because you run your mouth too much.
Yeah, man.
See, part of the way that I have
bro.
learned to keep my family out of our business is that I just don't express when there's an issue.
Certain things.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's my house.
Absolutely.
Y'all don't need to know that. That's what, you know, but what tends to happen a lot of times is that, let's take for an example, wife gets upset, so she runs to her mom.
For sure.
And
Her
she
sisters, stuff
or
like that.
sisters, family members, and I can't believe he did this, and he didn't come home last night. When he did, he had this on his breath, and I found lipstick on his collar, and I went through his pockets, and then.
That's how you live?
No. I'm a writer. Moving on, but don't start with me, Howard. Don't start with me today. Listen. So what I'm saying is, but then what happens is,
you gotta bring it back.
I gotta do it with him. Yeah. But then what happens is, then y'all make up.
Yeah.
And now your household is on good terms. Y'all in
Yeah.
love again, but your family
Now they in it.
still mad.
Yeah, they in it.
That's right.
They remember what you brought to them.
Yeah, they
so
in it.
sometimes you gotta learn to close your mouth.
That's good,
It's not your
man.
family that's getting
That's
your
good.
business.
You bring
It's
them
you
in.
putting your
That's-
business out there.
See, that's how I grew
good
up.
right there.
Like,
Yeah,
my
man.
mom's always said, whatever happens in this house stays in this house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Yeah.
growing up, that's ultimately how I kept a
Sure.
majority of people out.
Sure.
You know, if I'm open with a person, it's me saying as a friend, like if I hit Greg up, like, Greg, bro, this barber jacked me up. That was very vulnerable, you know what I'm saying? I had a tear and everything, but my boy Greg was
we
like,
talking hypothetically.
I got you, hypothetically. You know who you are, right? But Greg, Greg's like,
I got you.
Got you. But what I'm saying is just, like, I really think that is the biggest thing is with us as people, we don't shut our mouth sometimes. And I think it's not a bad thing, but it's like sometimes when we express it out, it's like, man, I tell Jeff something, or I tell Ron something, and it's just like, all right, I'm waiting for that feedback.
Right.
But then the expectation is you're not gonna hold this against me.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna hold this against them.
Absolutely.
Etc. But it's hard, man. But I wholeheartedly
Yes,
agree.
sir, man.
And
Yeah,
man,
that's
some
good
of y'all
advice
just-
there.
Yeah.
Y'all just
Be
gotta,
quiet.
Yeah,
Close
sometimes
your mouth.
you cause your own problem.
Yes, sir.
I came up in a household that was very close to a certain way of life
Yep.
that was known in that area.
Sure.
That you kept it in house.
Sure.
Yep.
Sounds
That was
illegal.
nice. That was you did that well. That was
Kept
good.
things in house.
Put a nice spin on that.
This
That was
don't go
good.
outside the family.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay, got it. We with you.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Moving on to the next question. So, with family and friends, with so much going on now, and busy lives and all that, how do you prioritize you? Because it's easy to focus on everybody else's
Right.
issues and what they have going on. So, how do you what do you do to make sure that you prioritize you? And it could be you by yourself or you and your spouse. How do you make sure that you have time to focus on you so that you're the best version of yourself?
Yeah, I learned that early, man. Thank God. Thank God. I learned it through watching other people burn up.
Okay.
I learned it and saw, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to jump into being a pastor early, because I saw what was happening.
Got you.
And what I learned, and I watched this from somebody, and then I asked this OG about it. And he said, know everything you can that makes each person in your family happy, and try to hit that point once, at least a month, or as often as you can, but you can't include the other ones in it. My son, my youngest son loves to fish. So I set a day when him and I went fishing. My daughter, at that time she liked to play tennis and do some other things.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I'm gonna spend some time with my daughter.
Okay.
My oldest son, I'm gonna spend some time with my oldest son.
Right.
My wife,
Sure.
she just wants to sit home and watch a TV show
Absolutely.
or paint or just wants to be around me. So we
Absolutely.
get in the car, we take a drive, we go do something.
dope.
But I made sure
Yeah.
that I'm hitting
Yeah.
all of those points. Not at all, not all the time,
Yeah.
like right after the other,
Yeah.
but moments that they had. And that was the thing, moments.
Right.
Make it be a moment that they could think back and say, I remember that time, me and my dad.
Right.
And then me.
Yes,
Like, I'm going to do something that I like to do.
That's good.
Gotcha.
Sure.
That's
Because
You include yourself in that number.
I got to have a moment too.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's
Absolutely.
Good. Greg, let me throw this question to you.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep people from bleeding on you too much?
Ooh, Lord.
Expecting too much, a lot going on. You write, you sing, you act. There's a lot going on, family. How do you keep?
Is this what you're going to do to me today, Ron?
Yes,
Really? Me?
I'm asking the question.
Okay.
How do you keep them from
You're
bleeding?
going to get this back. Okay.
Keep that lipstick off your tongue. I'm sorry.
Let's start with that.
I'm sorry.
Right.
There's
Thank
nothing
you.
going on,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen.
So anyway, it's funny that you brought that up because I actually, if I had to be 100% honest with you, I'm learning how to do.
Oh, wow.
I'm learning how to prioritize myself and how to keep people from bleeding on me. And one way to answer that question is honestly, it's a simple answer, while at the same time, it's the most difficult answer in the world. And that is learning to say no. I have in all my life had a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
Saying no to people. No, I can't come do that service. No, I can't come sing. No, I can't turn this over to you and get it to you immediately. No, I can't. No, I can't be at this recital. No, I can't be at. And so I would work and work and work to do everything to the point of my own personal burnout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because on our last episode, we had Pastor Sharice Cross, and she talked about that scripture that says, deny yourself and follow Christ. And what happens is that as a culture, especially as a Christian culture, that tends to be to our detriment.
Yeah.
And I heard Pastor John Hanna in Chicago. He made a statement, I believe it was Easter of last year, and he made it publicly, so I don't think he would mind me sharing this, but he said that he went to see a therapist, and the therapist said to him, you will set yourself on fire to keep everybody around you warm.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
His therapist said, you will set yourself on fire
Wow.
to keep everybody around you warm.
Okay, thank you. See you.
Be seated, please. In the words of Jamal Bryant, be seated, please. And the reaction that y'all just had was the reaction in the room when he's made that statement. Because I believe that it hit everybody.
Wow.
It hit everybody the same way. It hit me. I mean, it just dropped on me and fell on me. Because I'm 40 years old. So 39 and a half of those 40 years, I've been on fire.
Man, y'all need to tweet
Warming
that.
everybody else.
Y'all need to tweet that.
And so I have had to learn to say no. No, I can't. No, I won't be able to do that. No, I won't be. I'm so sorry. But it's not.
And not feel bad about it.
And not feel bad about it. One of my closest friends, Zebulon Ellis. God, Jesus. Zebulon Ellis has mastered the art of no. To the point where I'm almost envious of it at times. Because his no is loud. You know what I'm talking about you, Zeb. I'm talking about you. He'll say no and mean it. It won't come back on it, won't fall back on it. He'll say no. Deb, can you just, no. And won't think twice about it.
Wow.
I have always had a problem doing that. And so what happens is that I end up inconveniencing myself. I end up putting myself in situations where I'm unhappy being there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, why did I do
I've done
this?
myself a disservice. Now I'm running all over the city, and I'm trying to keep my wife happy, but I got to run over here and do this service real quick. But I know you want to have quality time. You want to do family day, but real quick, I just got to go real quick, and then real quick is not really real quick because you get there. And so to answer your question, I said all that to say this, to answer your question, I am learning how to say no.
That's good.
Wow.
Isn't it strange, or not strange, but isn't it peculiar that you can say yes 20 times to please somebody, but the one time you say no,
That's what they remember.
that's what they remember.
That's what they remember.
It's
Yeah.
like that.
That's
You
what they
said
hold
it
against you.
last season about the Tuesdays.
Yes, sir, dog.
You miss,
Yes,
you're there for
sir.
so many.
Yes, sir. You can give a. It was about women.
Yes.
Email me. Chris Rock said in the movie Spiral, I think it is, the new Saw. He said, you can give a woman 1,000,000 Tuesdays, but you turn down 4 Saturdays, and she'll remember it forever.
That's right.
Wow.
So it's a similar situation. People, they make it so personal when you can't do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
not to leave you out, DeMarcus Smith, one for you. You have little ones. How do you all keep the children from pitting mama against daddy?
Ooh.
You may not, if you haven't seen it, it's
Oh, it's going.
Oh, it's coming.
My
coming.
oldest son has started it.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
sir.
But so we just actually started seeing him test it, where the initial is he'll ask mom something, she'll say yes or no, and if the answer is no, he'll come and find me, and if I hit the yes, then
Absolutely.
she's screaming from around the corner.
Absolutely.
And so we've had to nip that in the bud. We've started
sir.
with that. The one that I think is gonna be, the one is gonna be my daughter, because I can't say no.
Oh, you better learn.
You gonna learn, dog.
I can't say
you
no
better
right
learn.
now.
Oh, you gonna learn.
So
I don't
like,
have that
it's I ain't gonna lie to you, it's bad, y'all.
you gonna
Like,
See, I had my girls first.
I don't have that
It's
problem.
bad.
You
I
gonna
had
learn.
boys second.
It's bad.
You better keep a
man.
blanket near that couch.
And
So-
one thing you have to, I know we faced this when our children were younger, is kids get smart.
Yeah,
And, what
absolutely.
they're-
Yeah.
and we have to be
Yes, sir.
smarter,
Two
because
steps
what we
in.
would do is, if I didn't want to be the one
Yeah.
that gave the answer,
Yeah.
go ask
What's
your
the
mama.
number one? Now, see, I'm so glad you said
Go
it
ask
before
your-
I did.
go
'cause I
ask
was-
your
I
mama.
was so getting ready to say
And
that.
Three
then-
words.
and-
What your mama say?
And then guess what?
What's
They
your
do.
father say?
They go ask mama, and what she,
Go ask your
what
daddy.
did your
What
daddy
was
say? And they say, well, daddy said he doesn't care. It's up to you. So now guess what? They get a pass, and it happens. Now, inside, neither one of us
Yeah.
wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
But because we didn't
You put
say
it on the other one.
Right. We
Nah,
left it open.
no.
there. So
Let me tell you something.
So
that it's in. I think Adam created this saying. Ask your mama.
Ask your mama.
Hey, go ask your mama. You know, it's in the male handbook.
That's
All
it.
the brothers watching. If you're married and you got children,
Go ask your mom.
go ask your mama. Now,
No.
what's gonna happen is your wife
No,
is gonna wear you out.
No, no,
Y'all see this advice they give me, right?
No,
Your wife gonna wear you out,
Y'all
Doc.
see this,
3
right?
words.
What is what?
What your mother say?
that's
She
what.
said yes. Okay.
Well,
That's
what comes.
forward.
Well, that's what you get, depending on who they ask first.
Wait a minute.
What did your
That's
mama
4
say?
words, Doc.
Oh my.
The way you say it goes out.
said,
3
what
words.
your mama say?
What is one word?
What's
What
your
your
mama
mama say? Oh,
What's your mama say?
Howard.
What's your
Don't let this man be y'all spokesman.
email
But
him.
we got what you're saying.
Email him.
What your mama say?
I mean, I think the best thing we've done, me and Chad have done lately, has been we've communicated a lot more. We try to communicate in
good.
advance, right?
That's good.
So
Sure.
like, especially with my oldest son, my tester,
Yeah.
who does it all.
Yeah.
We learn from him.
Yeah.
Now it's just she takes it, we'll take it. Like, all right, you saw what he did, right? All right. But my daughter is just
Yeah.
pray for me, y'all.
Yeah,
Well, you
man.
know, we
Let me
had
tell you something.
a
Pray for me.
situation where my first son was from a prior relationship. So I saw the damage that it could cause because when I said no, he went to his mom's
Absolutely.
and it was yes.
Absolutely.
And I saw the damage in that.
Sure.
So when I got married, my wife and I, we had kids, that was the one thing that I instilled, like, we have to be on one accord.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
We got to be on
totally
one
agree.
accord. And we discussed
Right.
the answer.
Right.
We discussed it.
That's good.
Listen, I don't think that we ought to say yes to this, and this is the reason why. Instead of just an arbitrarily, no.
Got it.
Right.
And you say no too.
Sure.
Let's
And being okay with
discuss
talk
that.
about
That's
why
good.
explanation
We
to
did
it.
learn that. What we
good.
learned after a while was, you know what? The answer would be, if you ask me, let me talk
Let
to
me
your
see.
mama, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all
then
right.
we would talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that's in the other handbook.
And then, yeah, that's in
Okay.
the right way
All
to
right.
do it.
They're right.
Yeah.
Listen to them.
So let me ask you this, as we wrap this segment up, real quick. What do you do for yourself? Just your quiet time. Like, what is your thing to do with all this going on, family, friendships? And all? What is your thing? I know for me, it's riding my bike and playing golf. What about you, Greg?
For me, it's driving.
Okay.
I ride in the car. I can ride for hours and never turn the radio on. Nothing.
Yeah.
Chad is like that.
Yeah, man. Listen.
Y'all weird.
Well, first of all, I do music for a living.
It's like all
Yeah.
the noise.
Yeah, it's the noise. I like the black.
Yeah.
I don't like noise, and I do
got
music
you.
for a living.
Just
so
a
I
shameless
tune-
plug. I do music for a living.
I mean, you know,
It's a shameless plug.
it's what I do. It's what I do.
My man.
And so I just turn the radio off
Yeah.
And just
and
go.
I just ride.
Yeah, that's good.
Me and
What
my
about you,
thoughts.
That's
DeMarcus?
good.
I've had a habit of lifting weights. Weights really help me get out what I don't say. It lets me, like, if I'm angry or upset or emotional in a sense, it allows me to push it all out, right?
Wow.
And I think the other weird thing is, like, literally just doing absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Like, I ain't got to move, I ain't got to think, I ain't got to
Sure.
do it. Like, if I just sit there,
Sure.
I can 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like I've revived.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
So-
Gotcha. Fauntleroy?
Man, I'm a nature guy. I can sit outside in the cold. I mean, I got a little fire pit now that I find myself, I'll go home right now and sit outside and then put some wood on and set the fire. And I'll literally be out there till 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Just sitting there, man, looking at the stars, looking at
Wow.
the sky.
Wow.
And, you know, you often hear me talk about harmony and nature and vibrations. When I know when I'm off,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sure.
and I seek that harmony.
Yes,
Gotcha.
sir.
That's good. Good stuff. Look, That's Debatable is next. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back. You don't want to miss it.
With the environment that we're in, with limited inventory, there's not a lot of options out there, and people are making decisions to purchase pre-existing properties that may need work. Some of these pre-existing properties have been flipped by investors who put minimal amount of money into the investment of making it look pretty, and then you buy it and it's a lot worse than you anticipated. So I'm looking forward to the questions today. Hope I can answer as many as possible.
Hi, this is Lena Bird Miles, and you're watching Tea and Worship right here on Hope TV.
Welcome back to the conversation. It's time for That's Debatable. And we know in our country so much uprising lately, racial divide with police officers, politics. Everywhere you look, there seems to be division. And most recently, we had a couple major cases in the news, one involving Kyle Rittenhouse and then Officer Kim Potter. So we want to just unpack that a little bit and talk about those. So let's start with Kyle Rittenhouse. We know that we know the case.
Sure.
We know at the end of the day, tried by a jury,
Sure.
found not guilty
For sure.
of, although people died, were injured. Let's talk about that. Greg, let's start with you.
Well, you know, I think that it's unfortunate in this country. You know, first of all, let me preface it by saying this. You know, there's always three sides to every story.
Yep.
There's one side, the other side, and then there's the truth.
It's in the middle. That's right.
Okay. So, you know, I was not there. What I have learned about this country, though, is that you can have video, you can have witnesses, you can have evidence,
T-shirts, everything.
T-shirts, and it just all seemingly it doesn't count, you know, and that is for me scary.
Yes.
I don't fear a lot of stuff. I really don't. But one thing I fear is being put into a position and being put into a situation where it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just your side of the story. You know, and for me, I have some more thoughts, but I'm gonna wait till you bring up Kim Potter first because
Okay.
my thoughts are on both cases
Gotcha.
together. But for this particular situation, what I'll say is that what bothers me most is that it seems as though, regardless of what's out there, nothing ever really matters.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things it bothers me, it puzzles me, is how different the two sides are.
Yeah.
I mean, you can understand differences of opinion, but the sides are so far apart. It's how can people on one side not see part of the logic behind him maybe going to do what he did? Maybe you know, that logic as far as him thinking maybe he was going to help.
Right.
For sure.
How can the other side not see how ridiculous it is
Wow.
for him to think that he should go
Wow.
so far away from home,
Wow.
armed,
Wow.
thinking something good was going to come out of that? And then even further than that, how he's become the hero
Wow.
That's what irks my
to
soul.
politicians who have made a vow to protect our Constitution and the citizens of this country. Even he had a jury trial, so you can't argue with that.
Right.
He had a trial.
Right.
But for them to now make him the hero in the face of a new face of a party, it just blows my mind how the two sides can be so opposite and so radical. Especially politicians. I think if anybody should try to come together and say, let's make some sense out of this, because you can be a senator in Iowa, but your policies can affect the nation.
Wow.
For sure.
So it just blows my mind how that works.
So the whole thing is bizarre. You got a kid, first off.
Start there.
That put me in a certain space, but he wasn't no little kid.
No.
So you got this young man who parent with your parents
Next.
just you made a call. Now we grew up, we know we make a decision, you got positive consequences, negative consequences.
Right.
But you in my heart, I wasn't there,
Sure.
but you knew what you was going to do. Anybody with a gun, anybody in a situation as heightened as that was, you knew you wasn't going to protect nothing.
Right.
Especially stuff that's not even yours.
Right.
Stuff outside of your state.
Right.
So I hated that he had to go through it, but at the same time, I'm like, man, it's plenty of people in this world that have did something or not did something and gotten consequences for those things. So as a young man, about to be a man, you just got to step up to this.
Sure.
What really just took me over is this hero syndrome that they created around.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as the verdict was read, I saw where they had a whole conference and they played theme music and they standing ovations. And it's like you dismissed death, right?
Wow.
Not one,
Wow.
not two. Well, was it two? There was 2 deaths and an injury or something like that? Like you just dismiss and throw all that away. And now this young man is the face of parties and all that. What scares me is the aftermath to this.
Yes, sir.
Because, and I'm gonna say this, I hope I don't get in trouble. Sorry to our Hope TV producers and everybody that's, but those white tears irk me.
Wow.
Because you got this crying antic that takes place, and people feel sorry for that, and so the aftermath to this is like, to me, speaks to students, black students, minority students, like, can I do this and get away? Can I make a small mistake and be okay? Because this is a major mistake.
Right.
And so, like, the aftermath is just like, man, what is that speaking now to the nation?
Sure.
And we're not talking about older, we're talking about next gen and generations to follow. What is that speaking to them at this point? You know, so
it's a calling card.
Yeah, before you jump in, Fauntleroy, part of that is, it's the state of the nation that enabled that to happen.
Yeah.
It's all of it's everything before that that made it okay. Wow. It's the politics that we experienced over the past 5 years that has allowed that person to do that.
To feel.
To feel it's okay to leave your, and again, we can't argue whether somebody has a right to be somewhere with a weapon. If you have that right, we cannot say that. But again, everything that I have a right to do, or my children have a right to do, is not appropriate for them to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And certainly taking a loaded weapon of that caliber to another city,
another state,
to protect businesses that ain't
people,
yours.
You start protect around your address.
Absolutely.
Start there.
Sweep around your own front.
Right. So I think that's what enabled this. A different political environment, this does not happen.
Wow.
And I'll say this, and I guess this will somewhat put me at ease, and this is just my opinion is, at the end of the day, this young man has to live with this for the rest of his life, right? And I'm not talking about the good.
I think he's okay with it.
And
that's a bad thing. You know what the bad part is? I think he's okay with it. If you've seen him on the circuit since then, I really believe
he's
okay. He's been validated, and I think he's okay with it.
The browning of America is petrifying older white America. The browning of America is scaring older white America to death. This case was no different than what has happened years and years and years. It's a colonizing mindset that has run rampant from generation to generation to generation.
For sure.
I have the authority to go and protect this land. It's not even mine, but I'm taking authority.
Wow.
Because that's who I am.
Wow.
I'm a colonizer.
Wow.
It's in my DNA. I'm going to protect this land. I'm going to make a decision to stop those people, whoever they are, from doing anything to this, because I got some friends and they've been talking to me and they've been telling me, yeah, man, this is the movement. This is our time. This is our time to stand up for our rights. What rights?
Wow.
This ain't yours.
Wow.
You don't own this. But that's in your mindset.
Sure.
Where do you get that from? You heard me use the word before, epigenetically. It's that thing that circles the DNA, that tells the DNA what to do, but it only tells it what to do from what it knows to do and what it has heard from its environment. Its environment has taught it to say, this is what you do, and it's okay, because we're all right to do this, because we've been doing this for years. This is who we are, so we're going to go do it. Now, the crazy thing is, they found him not guilty based upon a gangster law.
Wow.
The law was, you can use a weapon. It wasn't an unauthorized weapon. That's right. It was an authorized weapon because the length of the barrel was one where they used to hunt. Now, had it been shorter, because of back in the day, they had the sawed-off shotgun.
Right. Wow.
It was a gangster.
Wow.
It was a gangster move. A gangster weapon. Had it been shorter,
Then
it would have been
illegal.
unauthorized. But they found a loophole because they got to protect what he stands for.
Absolutely.
Got to
Absolutely.
protect what he stands for.
Absolutely.
So the mentality of this young man came from somewhere else. He didn't just get up and do this. He heard this. He heard his surroundings saying, this is what we have to do. This is what we're authorized to do. And you're going to be okay.
Wow.
He had a war chest, man, of money that had hundreds of thousands of dollars for his legal fees.
Absolutely.
So there was other people who thought the same way. And that's what gave him the mindset to do what he did.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it's
It's a
strange that
colonizing mindset.
one of the first visits he made after being found not guilty was to Mar-a-Lago, Florida, with our former
Yikes.
president.
Yikes.
One of the first stops he made was Florida.
He's a patriot.
So again, it's a
patriot.
lot to that. Let's move to another story, probably even more interesting. Kim Potter, police officer on trial. Now, Fauntleroy, this is right down your alley. Law enforcement.
Let's go with the legal fact of it. Let's go with
Before you go to that, I want to start with the technical parts of it because
the procedures.
From a how valid is it to pull the wrong weapon?
That's what I'm dealing with, procedures. First of all, from the very beginning, there was a unwritten law that at that time, because of COVID and other things and disruption in the community, that they kind of went lax on unnecessary motor vehicle stops. This motor vehicle stop was for an air freshener.
Get out of here.
An air freshener, supposed to be impeding the flow of a person's ability to be able to see. When you look at the scene, there was an officer on the driver's side, there was an officer on the passenger side. They had control of this person.
Yeah.
She comes in
Come on.
and takes control of this situation that she didn't have to. They had two officers already there.
Wow.
Procedurally, under pressure, you always revert back to your training. If you train well, you'll perform well.
Okay.
She showed that she didn't practice well
Wow.
because your strong side is where your weapon is going to be.
Absolutely.
Your taser is going to be on the opposite side.
Okay.
She went
Strong side.
for a strong side and not even realizing that she could shoot her partner who's in the direct line of fire
Wow.
or her other partner who's standing right next to her.
Okay.
But then once you realize, oh, this don't feel right, if you practice
Should
well,
have been enough.
Right. Because there are different
Different
grips,
weights.
You
different
understand?
weights, right?
Absolutely.
but even with
Different
that,
colors, yeah.
even with that, I'm gonna go a step further because I've been in that situation so I can talk with authority. You got a guy, he's under arrest, you know his name, he placed him under arrest for a warrant, so you know where he lives, you got all his information. He decides to flee, get in the car, and take off. Where's he going? You know where he going? The greatest weapon that they got in their hand is a radio.
Wow.
I
'Cause
got
they
a male
all his
fleeing.
info.
Here's his name.
Wow.
Here's his tag.
Wow.
Here's where he could be going.
But is that the training? And I'm asking
Yes.
Fauntleroy because I don't. Is the training that you let a suspect go?
There's a thing called, now, people will argue he's a fleeing felon at this point, meaning he's under arrest.
Sure.
And a fleeing felon, under the Fleeing Felon Act, you have the ability, in order to stop a person from being a detriment to the community, you can actually use deadly force.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
But is it necessary?
Right.
Okay.
Because the
Because
argument.
everything that you can do don't mean that you have to do.
Absolutely.
Right. Because the argument, one of the arguments was that if somebody's, like you said, a felon fleeing, you don't know what they're getting ready to do next.
right.
So do you allow that person to just go, or is it their responsibility to
Well-
stop them? Now, again, I don't think there's any argument that
Yeah,
you.
sure.
either by accident or on purpose, grabbing the wrong weapon proves that you don't need to be an officer
For sure.
for that reason alone.
So two facts here. Fact number one is you should have let the officers take control who were already who had already established control.
Sure.
You had no reason to get in there. But number two, and more importantly than anything, was procedurally, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You grabbed the wrong thing, and you tased them.
And that's what she owned, and she did own up to that, correct? She owned up to
She
that.
made a mistake. But the mistake was you should have let the officers on the scene take control of it because they had it.
So being informed about how easy or how difficult is it to make that mistake,
Very difficult.
right? With pulling the wrong.
Under
it's unlikely
under
to make
pressure,
that
you
mistake.
always revert back to your training. You have in-service training. We had it quarterly. And you went to the range and you shot and you shot and you shot and you shot and you shot.
familiar, right?
So you knew exactly what happens with that gun. That means that when it was a misfire, you knew what to do, okay? And it got to the point where you were doing, they were doing training, the person would have a misfire on range and you would raise a hand. But again, under pressure, you revert back to your training. So now they get into a shootout on the street. Guess what happened? They kneeled down and raised their hand.
Wow.
Because you revert
where
back to
they're-
training under pressure.
Right.
So we had to redo how we did training and make it active.
Okay.
And what to do if you have a misfire, go to a tactical retreat and then clear your weapon. Rap, tap, bang, okay? Rap,
Wow.
rap, tap, bang, okay? How to clear your weapon. Or else go to a place where you can retreat. So again, that's the whole process of under pressure, you revert back to your training.
There, and this all goes back to we know it's a much bigger problem than just those two cases. And there was a movie, I think it was The Hate U Give, that movie, and Common was in it, and he played the uncle of the young lady who was with, with at the scene. And he played a detective, and I know this was in the movie, but it was so interesting. One of the strangest parts of the movie, she ran through that scenario with him. And she said, now, if you were at the scene and that was a white person, would you have done the same thing?
Wow.
And he said, I don't know, or probably not. If it was somebody black, would you have done the same thing? And it was like, probably so.
Wow. Wow.
So it's like, so this is and Fauntleroy alluded to it earlier, how we are seen
Absolutely.
as a
Absolutely.
culture, as a people
Absolutely.
of color.
Absolutely.
It's not even, back in the 60s and the 50s, you could say that we were seen as not even fully human.
For sure.
That's how they looked at us.
For sure.
I think now it's that this skin that we have is a weapon.
Absolutely.
It's almost like we can wave our hands and do something to them. And it is not as terrifying for me because, as you mature, you kind of know where to go, how to do. But when you have, I will tell you, I have, and you hear it all the time, I have black sons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
when they leave, and when they go somewhere, they tell me, hey, I'm going here. There shouldn't have to be. There used to be instructions where buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Don't put your hands on anything.
Yeah.
Don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
There shouldn't have to be this second set of instructions that we have to give to our children when they leave the house.
Yeah.
Sure.
That other cultures don't have to give.
It's an unfortunate reality. I mean, I have and I hate to use this term, running joke, but you have to laugh sometime to keep from crying.
Absolutely.
And I tell Leslie all the time, I tell my wife all the time that you gotta watch your mouth because they'll shoot me.
Yeah. Yeah.
See? Because here I am, I'm 6'4",
Yeah, man.
260
You the
pounds.
big guy, threatening.
I'm automatically
Yep.
intimidating. I'm
Absolutely.
automatically a threat.
Yep.
So they automatically see me. They don't know I'm a worship leader and
Right.
a minister. They
don't
don't know
care.
those things.
They don't know
They
that.
just know that if they pull me over and say step out of the vehicle, when I step out,
They got a lot to deal with.
You understand what I'm saying?
And if you're not in the best of moods,
Yeah.
You just it all
You know?
and
Yeah.
so here I am, as you say, I'm raising sons.
Yeah.
You know, and so those are the things that make it fearful in this society. Going back to my original point, and this was the point I was going to make when you brought up both scenarios. For me, you know, the scary part is that the scary part is the knowledge that they have the backing of a system
Yeah.
to where they can be manipulative by any means necessary. Because here's the thing that stood out to me. So you see it from a perspective. I'm so impressed by you, by all that you just expressed. That was impressive. I got more respect for you
I got
now,
some stuff.
after this episode. Yeah, now you redeem yourself, Howard. But what you gonna say? what your mama gonna say?
Watcha.
Okay.
Watcha.
But moving on. No, what I was saying though is that for me, as a playwright, as a screenwriter, as a scriptwriter, as a director, the thing that stood out to me was this Academy Award-winning Tyler Perry audition that both of them did
Absolutely.
on the stand.
absolutely.
Because it works.
Because it works.
America don't want to see that.
He gets on and he cries and
America don't
and
want to see
he
that.
sobs and then she gets on and she's blinking and she's twitching.
trying to
And,
America
and
don't want
she
to see
says,
that. Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah. And then they show them fleeing.
come on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Show him fleeing.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly. That's
Show them
the
fleeing.
That's the hard part for me.
Yeah.
vantage point right
Yeah.
there.
Eh.
They show them sad
Yeah.
and him fleeing.
Yeah. Now I could
Absolutely.
add something, some more to it, but at the end of the day, it was procedurally wrong. At the end of the day, she was procedurally wrong. And that's all you can. We know that she shouldn't have done this. We know she shouldn't have done that. We know that she should have waited for those other guys to take control. We know that in the back of her mind, or we know that, you know, you're not supposed to run from me. But at the end of the day, it was all about procedurally wrong.
Wow.
Procedurally, you did something wrong.
Wow.
So where does the conversation begin? We've got, and again, this is a problem that cannot be solved in a day, a month,
no way.
a year.
No way.
It is now something that is, there has to be a shift in a system
shift.
and the people who control the system.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but it has to, there has to be some conversation. So does it start with, in the Kim Potter case, does it start with police training, or
It's
is
a-
this
it's a relearning.
or is this a one-off to where,
No.
I mean,
No.
this can't happen again.
it's
Nobody
a-
would do that. You know what I mean?
It's a relearning of the entire way that we police in America. Relearning. We've got to relearn. We got to do this a different way. I'm telling you because I know we have to do this differently.
Wow.
We're trained to kill. We're not trained to talk.
Protect and-
Okay,
or
we got to
defuse.
relearn. We have to relearn how to do this. We live in a different society. We've got to make sure we get the right people on these departments that understand that everybody doesn't have to be arrested. Everybody's not a bad person. They may do bad things, but then it's a whole new training aspect.
But the problem, one of the things I see, and the people who are making the law, and the new politicians that
yeah.
are coming up,
Oh yeah.
you don't see
Yeah.
a softening
Yeah.
of that. You don't hear anybody on, and I'll speak in the Republican Party. You don't hear anybody
No, it's just the opposite.
crying out foul.
Yeah. No.
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 You know what I mean? You don't hear
No.
anybody. So if you don't, that is half of our senators and our congressmen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if they're not crying foul,
Right.
there's a divide right there down the middle, because the Senate is split virtually 50-50 right now.
But
so
see, that divide's always been there. Whether you a politician, whether you are in the real world, this just growing up, there's always been the divide that I'm good, you're bad, and leave it at that. Like even when there was a study done where they would bring children and place the dolls in front of them. And the dolls would be different colors. And the initial was, which one of these dolls is good? And every child pointed to a
Absolutely.
certain
Right.
color.
That's right.
Which doll is bad, certain color. So that divide has been there. And you asked the question of where do we start, and there's a lot of different areas we can say that we can start in, but as a father, as a black male, it's like to the point where you said we've now got to give multiple instructions to our kids before they leave the house. So it's like, I've got to give you the safety instruction, I got to give you the black man, black woman instruction manual, but then I also got to give this this may be the last time.
Jesus.
I love you.
Sure.
And as
wrapped
bad
in
as
one.
that is,
Yeah.
all wrapped in one.
All wrapped in one.
It's getting harder to validate, to empower, to push our younger generations, like it's getting harder to push us into believing that we are amazing, which we absolutely are.
Sure.
So
Because it's always in the back of our minds, them blue lights flash.
Absolutely.
Your
Right.
life flash before
Absolutely.
your eyes.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
That's
You know what I'm
good.
saying?
That's good. Look, we can talk about this all day. We know we don't have all the answers. You get the viewpoint from the panel here. We certainly know you have some. Let us know what you think. Hope TV, we welcome your feedback. Again, we know this is a serious problem, and we won't solve it overnight. But again, we all have to do something to make this problem better. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Conversation. We'll see you next week for another great episode. Until then, take care of yourself and be blessed.